announcement brunch. We are so happy to have you with us, and all of this is brought to you by Standard Bank. My name is Noni Kumalo. I'm a content producer on Y, a Radio 2 lecturer at Boston Media House, as well as a corporate MC. I am delighted to be here with you today. Pat has worked exceptionally hard for us to get here. I mean, we are really the gold standard of youth excellence. We've had about, I'll take that. We've had about 2,500 nominations for the awards. Today, we bring it down to 64. I think some of you are in the audience anticipating what is going to be happening. So it is going to be a jewel and a half. I'm excited to be doing it with Mr. Pat on Brands himself. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. All right, if you're looking for the toilet, there is a brown door there at the back. You walk through, there is a T-junction. At the T-junction, you take a left. Gentlemen on the right and females on the left. For Wi-Fi, because we know some of us do suffer with data, we have very expensive data in South Africa. So what you need to do is to go to the SBG guest Wi-Fi. You need to register as a guest. You need to put in your username and your details. But when you enter your cell phone number, please make sure that that number is correct, because then they're going to send the password and your username to the wrong number. All right, so make sure that your cell phone number is correct. In this house, we encourage you to post. We see a lot of smartphones here. So take every detail from the food to the entrance, to the stage, to the friend next door. All right, so our hashtags for today are hashtag Yoba Nominees 2023, Top 16 Yoba, as well as Youth Excellence. Please use all three. Okay, we're together now? All right, fantastic. So before we get into it, I want to do this exercise that is done in church. I want you to turn to your neighbor, and I'm going to require you to tell them who you are and why you love the Yobas so, so much. Go now. Alrighty, that's great. Okay, so we know our neighbors by now, né? Everything is set, all is well. All right, let's get the show on the road. To tell us more about this fantastic partnership between Standard Bank and the Yobas is Itumeleng Maila, who is the brand and marketing head for youth and main market clients. For Standard Bank, she is a published author, a guest lecturer at the Wits Business School, as well as a mom. So please give her a huge round of applause.
Success is some inherent talent, some impossible skill that takes years of practice. The truth is that it's already ours for the taking. It lies in our habits, our rituals, in who we are now. When we chafa instead of ukhafa constantly. When we spray the cheap stuff. When we ride our old trans into the ground. When we rest for the 10%. Because we know it's the first step to a million. And once we hit that 100K, that's what makes us 10% millionaires. Hashtag 10PM.
How do you cut? It can't be like that. It can't be like that. It can be. Good morning. Dumelang. Ninjani. Abisheni. Goeiemôre. Awe. Hola. I think I can easily say all protocol observed today. Okay, you're well represented. We're so excited. I cannot begin to explain how excited we are that this moment has finally happened. A little bit of a background. This young man, Pat Mahlangu, I think he is such a visionary, so passionate. I don't know how to say it in English, so I'll say it in Sesotho, and then I'll try and explain it. anakhala, so he's not shy. I think that's the easiest way. He ran to me last year, to introduce himself because, what he wants is to empower young people and he'll stop at nothing, including speaking to an executive at Standard Bank. He didn't care. He just said, "Itumeleng, what are you doing for us?" And I think in that vein, I would like to because if it wasn't for Josephine seeing the benefit and pushing me, boss Mara, what about Peton Brands? When we do budgets, boss did include Peton Brands. So this is a year in the making. So if I may maybe introduce Josephine Jansen as the Senior Marketing Manager for Standard Bank. And of course, Pat Mahlangu, who, we are all here because of his vision. I also have two ladies here, the marketing managers in my team. I've got Ellen Pembe, if you can just say hi to everybody. And Lebo Sam. So, ladies and gentlemen, I always feel old next to these young ladies. But anyway, so welcome to the big blue bank. Welcome to Standard Bank, the largest bank in Africa. And we don't say that to be boastful, because we recognize that with great power comes great responsibility. And we take our responsibility seriously. Internally at Standard Bank, we say Africa is our home. We drive her growth. And we take that seriously. If we don't drive Africa's growth, no one will. And we all know, we've got members of the media here, we know that Africa is young. The majority of people in Africa are young people. The majority of people in South Africa are young people. If we don't do anything, we're going to have an older generation of people that are not economically active. So it's actually good business sense to invest in the youth. We're not doing you guys a favor. You are doing us a favor. We're just partnering with you. And we hope you remember us when you reach the top and you'll open your bank account with us. But even if you don't do that, we're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And with that, we launched what we call the 10% movement last year. And I think the older generation in my family used to say, "Biki Biki Magmier." I think that's the simplest translation. If you want to be fancy, you can say, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. But that's just being fancy. Rome was not built in a day, right? And this is what this is. And Peton Brands was such a natural fit for us because what Peton Brands does is celebrate young people who are doing their things 10% at a time, right? These, initially when we started, we said 10% millionaires, but we had to drop that because, we're talking to 10% billionaires now, billions. We're no longer in the millions, right? The sky is the limit. But we all know that the first step is the hardest. You speak to any successful business person, they'll tell you that first, 100,000, million, billion, grade 1 was harder than, grade 2. That first step is the hardest. And that's where we come in. We're saying, let's give you that push. Let's give you that opportunity. And we're saying whatever young people are interested in. Today, obviously, it's entrepreneurship. But we support the arts, education, and everything else in between. I've actually never been at an organization that does this. We don't turn anyone away. Okay, I'm not saying give us 1 million proposals, but I'm just saying at the heart of what we do, we genuinely want to support our young people. And with that, I think maybe you've heard a lot from me. Let's listen to what the young people have to say. Let's watch Chad Jones.
So my name is Chad Jones. I was born and raised in the city of Gqeberha, formerly known as Port Elizabeth. After graduating, I worked 2 years in the IT industry. And then obviously lockdown happened. It's level 5. My parents are sitting at home, eating, just watching TV. Might as well do something fun. So I asked them to be in my videos. Next thing, one video's got 500,000 views. And people started enjoying it and asking for more. It is now an official business. I work for myself. Standard Bank was, I think, one of the first brands to like notice me. So I've been a part of a lot of campaigns that they have for the youth. You know, they're encouraging the hustle. What's up, guys? My name is Chad Jones. I'm a Standard Bank 10 PMer. Join the movement. Hashtag 10 PM.
Yeah. So we have many, many young people on the movement. We couldn't have everyone. And one of the latest projects we're involved with was Idols, because it's also people wanting to make their dreams come true, you know. And we'll continue doing that. And this morning, to our entrepreneurs in the room, if there are any, I think you're a winner the minute you opened up your business. You know, the night and day hustling, you know. And I think if I can be vulnerable a little bit, well, I'm among family, Musne. Journalists, so you better not write about me. This is like, you know. But I remember at some point in my career, I decided, I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to open my own thing, you know. And that was after many years of being in corporate. And when you start your own business, the first thing you want is to get that big corporate client, right? Because I was in the consulting space. And you know, the hustle, you know, the putting together the things, the networking, the everything, the big meeting. And I think the worst thing happened. Some people might think it's the best thing. I got the deal, right? I mean, you'd think I would be excited. And the words, the entrepreneurs in the room would relate. The dreaded words were, send us a CE. I didn't even have a template for a CE. You know, I hadn't even thought about how I'm going to price this thing. You know, I just wanted to get that big deal. So I'm basically trying to say it's not easy. Even the small stuff is the hard stuff, right? Even something as small as getting paid, you know, it's still hectic. So just maybe as a small word of encouragement, we know what it takes, and maybe we don't even know what it takes in your context. But I think the common thing is it's not easy, because if it was, everybody would be doing it. So be encouraged. You are a winner. You know, even if you don't get to lift the trophy, the gold standard of youth excellence, as Pat says, but for us, you are a winner, and we'll continue to find ways of working with you. So as I close, I just want to quote something. It's a Chinese proverb that I added my own spice to. It says, if you want 1 year of prosperity, grow grain. If you want 10 years of prosperity, grow trees. If you want 100 years of prosperity, grow entrepreneurs. If you want 1,000 years, now this is the Do Me remix. If you want 1,000 years of prosperity, develop, nurture, and celebrate young entrepreneurs. And I think that sums up our heart as a bank. Let's do it 10% at a time. And as I come to a close, we're going to play for you our TikTok film, which was directed by a 26-year-old director. So we don't do freebies. You give us your invoice, and we help you get up. Thank you very much.
Before the bright lights, red carpet, and fame, we do what we do and pay the cost to get there. Before the noise and the crowd,
we find and perfect our sound.
still taking time out for chilled vibes and polas. Then in Twana, it's back to the grind. Before the picture-perfect moments,
We still get out there,
pushing cause our drive is unmatched.
never sleeping on ourselves cause the spotlight's too bright.
Filter out the noise and bazotinis, messing with the vibes, turning crowds into followers and making our own way.
They say the first 100K is the hardest, but the hardest has become easy for us.
So when will you get yours? How about now?
Let's push 10% millionaires.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Itumeleng. That was fantastic. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability as well and putting a twist in that quote. We love it. If you are not here with us today, you are streaming us on YouTube. Top 16 Youth Brands is where we are at. But before we continue, I want to send a huge shout out to our sponsors. We wouldn't be here without you. Our headline sponsor, Standard Bank, Wits Business School, Telkom, Nalisa Media, Reveal, Brand South Africa, Lunch Bar, Lerato Agency, and Pat on Brands. Now, this next person that I'm going to be calling up onto the stage commands that you take out your phone. You put it in video mode, as in now. Who am I calling up onto the stage? None other than the founder, the man himself, Pat on Brand. I'm not seeing the phones. Where are the phones? Okay, I see a couple of phones over here. I'm seeing a couple of phones here too. We're waiting for the founder to tell us why we are here, why this initiative is happening, to tell us how he came about it. Give it up for Pat on Brand.
Back is a pat from the man. Let it be branded, man. Pat from the pat is a pat on the brand. If it's enormous, flawless, gorgeous, don't be cautious, corners. Making a move, making a
Why are you not clapping?
What are you branded, man? A pat on the back is a pat from the man.
You can do better than it. Come on now.
Pat from the pat is a pat on the brand. If it's enormous, flawless, gorgeous,
All right.
don't be cautious.
When I say pat, you say pat on brand.
I'm making a borders. Pushing a passion, make it a fashion, get it a ration. A market share, a market.
When I say pat, you say pat on brands. Pat. Thank you so much. First and foremost, I just want to take this time to thank everyone here for making the time. I know you could have been elsewhere, but you chose to be with us today. So that is immensely appreciated. And also a special shout out. I think I'm allowed to say shout out because this is a youth platform. To our judges, who took time out to actually, sift through the many entries and come up to the top 64, which is where we are now, and as we ushering ourselves into the next stage of the awards, which is the voting. So a special shout out to you, Ma, as we call her, affectionately so, Sadiqa Fakir, who's our chairperson of the jury. And of course, in absentia, the deputy chairperson being Lebo Lion. And I think now I'm starting to sound like a politician. I'm going to switch it up a bit. And yeah, so then another shout out goes out to, of course, the Blue Brave Bank. That is Standard Bank. Believe it or not, Standard Bank is actually over 160 years old. For them to be partnering with a 2-year baby, I would say, it's really a vote of confidence, in terms of the work that we're doing, but also it's just indicative of their commitment in terms of empowering the youth, Many people talk about the youth. You walk into any boardroom, everyone says the youth, but very few do something about it. And I think for that, a big shout out to or should I say, no, a huge pat on Standard Bank. Yeah. Then, of course, we have our category sponsors being Wits Business School. Education is important. I think more than anything, as entrepreneurs, we tend to oftentimes lean onto our own understanding, and sort of denying ourselves the opportunity to absorb more and become a better business people. And I think more than anything, it's all good to start as an entrepreneur, but you gotta mature in business. And a lot of that comes with education. So another pat goes to Wits Business School. Then also we have Telkom. Telkom who said, look, we want to take over the technology category. They're doing an incredible work, and thank you so much to Telkom for that. Then you also have Lunch Bar. I nearly said obvious, but now they have a new tagline, which is much, much more. So they want to do much, much more in the youth space. Then we also have, who am I forgetting? of course, our lovely media partners, Nalesa and or Nalesa and Reveal out of home. You might have seen the billboards in Sandton, you might have seen the billboards in Soweto. You know, we are all over Johannesburg, and it's all thanks to these powerful media houses. You know, I mean, I only met the guys for the first time at the awards last year, and they were like, Pat, we want in, you know, and they really stuck. Because remember, at the awards, those that were there, you'd have seen that it was a major success, and everyone is just excited. And lots of promises were made there, you know. So that's why sometimes, you know, they say never make a promise when you are too happy, you know, because it'll catch up with you in the end. And yeah, a special shout out to Nalisa Media as well as Reveal on the media front, and of course, Brand South Africa, you know, giving us that vote of confidence to say the work that we are doing really speaks to the agenda of promoting South Africa and painting it in a beautiful way. And a special shout out to Brand South Africa. Can we please clap it up for all our sponsors? And last but not least, you know, I know everyone that gets on stage says, Pat, you know, well done. You know, I've got a team, you know, I've got an incredible team of young, dynamic people that are really hungry and that are pushing themselves. And I know sometimes I'm not their favorite person, but we only have one standard at Lerato Agency. That is excellence. Nothing below, nothing, there's nothing else that really exists. So when I push you guys, it's purely because of the love. And a special shout out to you as well. So for those that have been, that have never been with us before, I've got about 100 slides that I'd like to show you. I'm kidding. If we could just get on the presentation on the... So I'd like just to kick off with this video, you know. It's just a reflection, you know. In order for us, you know, to know where we're going, it's often important just to pause and look how far we've come. So this video just gives you the highlights of what we were able to accomplish last year. And I think after watching this video, you'd understand why we do what we do, but most importantly, what lies ahead.
Let's head to South Africa now, where youth unemployment is at a staggering 66.5%.
The naysayers keep saying the youth is lazy, entitled, apathetic, privileged, and stubborn. They're asking, the youth of 1976 fought a political fight. What is the youth of today fighting for? Despite the challenges our youth keep facing, South Africa's youth is resilient and tenacious. They're building businesses, creating employment, and leading global initiatives. They keep fighting and finding innovative ways to rise. They're rising. They keep multiplying. However, 4 in 5 small businesses don't make it past 5 years. Why? One of the biggest factors is lack of support and diminishing motivation. Recognition is the greatest motivator. Patton Brands initiated the Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards, the first of its kind in South Africa that recognizes and celebrates the brands that are owned by the youth. Despite the mountain of obstacles these brands face, they keep climbing. They break every rule in the book and show no respect for the norm. They're so determined to get to the top. Through appreciation comes the confidence to strive for excellence. To deliver a world-class award show with zero marketing budget, Patton Brands turned to PR digital creative agency, Lerato Agency, which developed and implemented an integrated marketing campaign. Great partnerships were formed with Reveal Outdoor and UJFM to generate awareness. The team also took to the streets of Johannesburg to promote the awards. At the core of the campaign was a massive PR drive. South Africa media loved the initiative and reported every milestone of the event. The results were staggering. On the eve of the day that molded South Africa's history of 1976, 15 June 2022, the inaugural Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards were hosted. An event that brought expressive visionaries together and made another mark in the chapters of history. Over 480 nominations received, 60 brands shortlisted by an esteemed panel of judges, 18,000 votes cast by the public, and 15 brands awarded. The show was sold out and social media was abuzz. The Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards generated over 4.5 million in PR value and millions of social media impressions. This is the start of potentially building a square mile in Africa, housing African-owned brands. Brand builders are nation builders. Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards, the gold standard of youth excellence.
That's the part where you clap. I've watched the video so many times. Every time I present to a corporate asking for sponsorship, I play this video. And every time I watch that video, I feel goosebumps, all over my body, because what we're able to achieve, in that very short space of time, as well as with the limited resources we had, I think it's absolutely incredible, if I have to say so myself. All right. So one of the biggest highlights with the awards is that, without reiterating what you already saw in the video, is that we are also walking the talk, from a business perspective. When we say we are for the youth, we mean it. So if you look at the trophy that you see, if you look at the production team that's working here, it's all young people. So we also, in our supply chain, integrate young people, in terms of empowering them. So Standard Bank empowers us, we also empower other young people. So it only makes sense, right? So if you were at our awards last year, everyone that was working there, it was all youth. And sometimes, as young as they are, they will make mistakes, the experience is not there. But just keep that in mind, that here we are also building other entrepreneurs. So in essence, we exist to shine the light on youth excellence. And really what we are a platform, that recognizes those that were able to turn businesses into brands. And how we do that is through our awards. The 2022 winners, how many of these brands do you recognize, or have you bought, or you own an item? Just by a show of hands, how many of these brands do you know? And I'm going to pick someone random. You there in a sporty, how many of these brands? How many brands do you know, do you recognize? Oh, that's amazing. Usually when I do presentations, an average answer is 3. Yeah. They say, oh, we know about you, But yeah. But all of these brands are really, championing the respective spaces and industries that they are playing in. But also, most importantly, the standard, of these awards is really high. So if you get to win a Yoba, it means, you've done incredibly well, and you've survived the cut, from 2,500 to being top 16, and now to being top 64 to now being top 16. So it's really a major thing, and I think our judges also can attest to this in terms of how strict they are in terms of following protocol. So yeah, those are our 2022 winners. Can we clap for them? Great. So we have a grand vision as a platform, that one day in our lifetime, there will be a shopping mall that, just houses only South African brands. As you can see in the picture, we do have Mall of Africa, but, more than 80% of the brands there, they are not from Africa. Actually, Brand Africa reports every year that in their most admired brands in the continent, less than 20% of the most admired brands in the continent are actually brands from outside of the continent, which is absolutely insane. But also, it is an opportunity for entrepreneurs and also for marketers to build strong brands that Africans will admire. Of course, those are our partners. I'm not going to reiterate that, but I think what's important to highlight is that we do have an endorsement from Brand Africa. So what we are doing really aligns with the vision in terms of building great African brands. So I just want to also highlight the important dates. You know, the 14th and 15th of June, history will be made again. So every year, I think I was telling Ma that next year, we are not pushing the envelope too much. For the past, I'd say in my journey, for the past 3 years, I've been launching something new every year, and that's huge. 2020, in the thick of lockdown, we started Lerato Agency. You know, fast forward to that, 2021, we launched the top 16 list on our website. 2022, we started the top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards. So this year is the Festival of Youth-Owned Brands. So next year, I'm retiring, guys. This is the Festival of Youth-Owned Brands has 3 pillars: exhibitions, entertainment, and education. So under education, we're going to have master classes and panel discussions. So invites have already went out to some of our business leaders or captains of industry to come to share their knowledge with the upcoming generation of business people as well as marketers. So it's going to be an exciting day, or an exciting 2 days rather, and I'd like to encourage everyone that's here to spread the word. Media, we cannot do this without you, and I think if anything, South African media has really showed great support for our initiative. I mean, every milestone, you know, they've been sort of sharing our story, and can you just clap it up for them, please? Then, of course, on the evening of the 15th of June, it is the main event, I would say, the big celebration of South Africa's finest 16 youth-owned brands. So that is the awards evening. So please, again, do spread the word. There we've got very limited seats, but 1,200 max, you know. So the demand, I know, is very high. So if you haven't purchased your ticket yet, so please do make sure that you do that. And I think more than anything, I remember someone said this to me after the awards. You were like, you know what, Pat, what you're doing here is really incredible. And you are delivering at table stakes with some of the major awards in this country. And those that were there last year can attest to this. And others, after awards, they went to other awards show, and I kept on getting awards. They're like, yo, the Yobas, they were way so better. But I'm like, that's not the point. The point is that we are also raising the bar for ourselves, you know. And also sometimes when we're dealing with the youth, people expect to just know, you know, like small things, you know. But what we do is that we play big and we raise the standard. So we're expecting about 3,000 people to attend the festival over the 2 days. It's a big, audacious goal, but we're going to do it. And we're not going to do it alone, of course. We've got you guys here. We've got our sponsors that are backing us up. We've got the media that's going to tell the story. We've got our judges and the entire Yoba community. So it's going to be incredible. So I just want to, you know, the guys that get to win the Yobas, you know, we call them the expressive visionaries. You know, these are self-starters, go-getters, and business owners. These are people that are no longer asking for space or shelf space in the big retailers. They're actually building their own stores. You know, from a corporate perspective, these are the young people that are best to associate with. Someone came to me when I was giving a talk in Durban and said, you know, we're having a challenge that young people do not want to vote. You know, there's a lot of voter apathy. How do we get them, you know, excited? These are the people, the Yoba winners and many others and the nominees. Those are the people that are driving change in this country. And if you want to see real change, you have to align with them, you know. And also in aligning with them, do not exploit them, you know. So this is a big call. And we saw a video as I closed on TikTok, you know, a young lady saying, although I disagree with the initial intent, because you are saying relocating in the industry of you know, of these fancy alcohol brands. But she was saying, and how we took it as a people was that she says, squeeze us in, you know, put us in, put us on, give young people a chance. When a young person knocks on your door and asks for an opportunity, yes, it's absolutely impossible to say yes to everyone, but the least you can do for any young person is to show them support and show them that you are with them. You know, don't just shut the door, you know. And also when you say squeeze us in, we're not saying squeeze us as well. There's a difference between squeezing in and squeezing. You know, in corporate, they always say, squeeze the small guy. No, don't squeeze us. Don't squeeze us. But thank you so much, everyone, for coming through. It is a great day. I encourage you, once we've announced the nominees, go vote to the nominees. All the best of luck. Go out there, mobilize the communities to actually vote for you, because at the end of the day, it's not Pat and his team. It is going to be the public and our esteemed panel of judges. And if you think I have an input in any of these, believe me, I don't. Any of the judges, I never contact them to say, hey, did brand so-and-so make it in or whatever. I have no input. It's absolutely up to the judges and absolutely up to the public to decide. Okay, all the best. Go out there and rock.
It's Pat on Brands. Watch how you branded, man.
Oh, they also get a song.
Man. Let me branded, man. Pat on the patterns and pat on the
Our
brand.
candidate, guys, we're squeezing in, relocating, as Pat said. All right, so next up we have our esteemed discussion with our esteemed panel of judges. Facilitating that discussion is our chairperson of the Yoba jury, Sadika Fakir, and she promised me that she's bringing all the drama, because I said to her earlier, ma'am, I need the down low of exactly how you guys determine who the nominees are. So again, esteemed panel of judges. I'm going to need them to tell us exactly who they are and their experience in the industry. So Sadika, you can come through, and the panel of judges as well. And as you answer your questions, please let us know exactly who you are and the roles that you play in your industries.
Thank you. Can I get a yoba? Yoba. And it can be. Perfect. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And again, Pat, this has been such a wonderful experience. And I always give big ups to Pat on Brands, Lorato, and the Yoba Awards for this opportunity. I don't take. The mic is load shedding. Can you hear me? Cool. Fantastic. And it has been this is our second year in, a completely amazing experience. And as Tumi said, it's a challenge for all of us that have entrepreneurship in our blood. I believe Africans have we're born with it naturally. It flows through our blood. And to see these, I was more inspired to go, Sadika, take a risk one day. The young ones have, and here you are. So thank you to every single brand that has actually taken the opportunity to enter the awards. You've inspired us, you've inspired the continent, you've inspired South Africa, and it can be. I am a firm believer that you walk on your destiny and your purpose before you attain it. Okay? We are sitting amongst the greats of this continent and the world. Why stop at Africa? These are global brands that we have seen. And this is exactly what I say to Pat. You've laid out the foundation for Africa to be the next big global brands, and empowered and endorsed by a Standard Bank. So thank you. Thank you for believing in this vision. Thank you for believing in the youth. And thank you for believing in entrepreneurship, because as I always say, this is the only hope. Entrepreneurship, new global brands are going to be born out of here. So thank you so much. I'm going to introduce my very esteemed panel of judges. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves and give you a little bit about themselves before I start the drama.
Thank you, Sadika. Hi, I'm Fatima Owen Sadi, originally from Morocco. but have been in South Africa now for about 15 years or so, maybe longer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of On Point PR. And yeah, I started the business in 2010 during the World Cup, actually. And we grew. It's very interesting. We were also, I think we're still considered a small business. But my partner and I, my business partner and I, I remember we started out of a coffee shop called Wolves in Ilovo.
Yes.
And a laptop and a phone, and we used to share airtime, sending each other airtime and petrol money. But we had a vision of what we wanted to do from a business that we wanted to create. And we started in South Africa, but now our business is in communications, marketing, production, full spectrum, and we now service not just SA, but Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya. We've really grown across the continent, and it's such a pleasure to be here. I remember Pat from years ago, actually, and it's so amazing to see what's been done here. And I wish maybe when I had started my business, there had been something like this, because there definitely have been moments of despair and wanting to give up, actually. And so I think something like this, just from a practical but also from an emotional and spiritual support that will give to brands, young brands, I think is incredible.
Okay, hi everyone. Firstly, my name is Yasira Kaji. I am from Wits Business School. I am a digital transformation and marketing specialist. I'm one of the judges in the education category. And wow, I mean, I'm truly in awe of all of the brands that have been nominated, who put through their recommendations, etc. And it's an exciting initiative. One of the key aspects that we at Wits Business School thrive on is growth and excellence. Growth and excellence through every single thing. And the youth is the way forward for all of us. So we focus on pracademia more than academia. And that's about bringing the practical business entrepreneurial skill set to the environment. And we're here to help them grow further and reach new heights through various different streams and measures. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction. So my name is Lerato Ntreachabo Sidiadia. I am, I heard a remark there. You're welcome to say it back. So I'm a strategy consultant, also property owner. We have a couple of properties across South Africa and Lesotho, 4 farms and a couple of short stay accommodations. Really a farmer at heart, and having seen the applications that were put forward, it just reminded me on kind of the journey that it takes to get to a point where you're able to talk about your journey, and you're able to see it through the links and the profiles that we came across. So I'm really, really excited to see the result, and I wish you all the best.
I don't have a theme song.
We need songs.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bukhosi Mutshekwa, and I'm the Chief Creative and Strategy Officer at Brand Reserve Co., which is a global context media-powered agency. And I also run a strategy consultancy called Entrepreneurial. So I think it's a great privilege for me to be here because the name Entrepreneurial comes from the idea that I had, which was for me to be the thinking partner to entrepreneurs. And this came from, growing up as a black child, growing up in the township where there's a lot of entrepreneurial flair and businesses and young people. The one thing that always fascinated me was that puzzle shops never graduated to be big conglomerates, big brands, and that's where all these other retailers started from. So I've always had a passion of how can I partner with small businesses and help them think about brand building, think about bigger visions, and think about building beyond the street where this puzzle shop is. Because the family starts as puzzle shop, and then the young kids then become the owners, and then it's really just a small town business within the community and nothing beyond that. Cool.
Thank you so much. So a highly esteemed panel of judges, and this is the tip of the iceberg. You can get the full judging panel on LinkedIn, on Instagram, so please go through and have a look at the panel. So yes, we have been strict. Pat has been exceptionally correct in we've maintained the standards. It's a completely auditable process, and we've really ensured that we've been meticulous in the way we have judged the entries. Now, first question for the judging panel. What stood out for you? What was the wow moment when you started judging? And I want to hear from all of you, so I'm going to do it in order. Because you start, and then we'll go from to the side.
Thank you. I think it's the category was quite interesting. So I did the apparel category. What stood out for me was that there were brands that I also didn't know about, but they were absolutely phenomenal. Fantastic work. The owners and the founders are so meticulous and deliberate about the brands that they're building. But there isn't much awareness around. And I think perhaps maybe it's because of the category. You have global brands, we get inundated with global brands. But then there are people in South Africa who are building unique, distinct and differentiated brands where there's actually a brand story. They are building in sort of like key assets. You can tell that there's a brand strategy, there's thinking that's going into it, and they're thinking about every part of the value chain, including the brand story. But to be honest, there wasn't a lot of greatness or excellence as we speak about. And I think part of the challenge is that within fashion or apparel, a lot of the people stagnant at the entry level. Entry level meaning you print t-shirts. So most people just print t-shirts, they find a logo, they put it on a t-shirt, and they think they have a brand. And I think that's where most of them get stuck in terms of graduating to the next level.
Thanks for that.
So I think for me what stood out, right, was I loved my category actually, and it stretched me as well, but I was the agriculture. And it's very interesting, I think, as well, very timely of what's happening currently in terms of the big issues of climate change and how it affects food sustainability, farming, etc. And we know that the countries that are most affected by climate change are the ones that are the least contributors to climate change. And we, especially on the continent, are having a huge farming issue across the continent. So it was really inspiring for me to see these young people coming up with really, I think, innovative solutions, marrying science, going at a level of marrying science with creating solutions for their communities. And also just on a very simple level of showcasing their journey to be a farmer. How to grow vegetables, how to grow, fruits and vegetables, starting in a very small scale. So it was a really diverse group, and I really enjoyed judging that section. So yeah, I think that's it.
And a category that is absolutely necessity.
Oh my gosh, honestly, I think it's one of the most important categories actually currently in terms of agriculture. And I felt quite hopeful actually, because I think if you go down the rabbit hole of understanding climate change and what's happening, it's quite scary, and it can be quite worrisome about food issues. There are countries around the world that are having, their supermarkets, they're not having enough fruit and vegetables in their supermarkets. And these are countries where you would not expect that to happen. And then, so to see young people, the youth, so engaged into this category made me feel very hopeful for South Africa. And I hope we can see that rolled out. I mean, I'm sure it's happening across the continent. In fact, I know it is. But definitely we need to, that's why things like this and banks, I would say, like a Standard Bank, it's so important to support these young people who are coming up with these innovative solutions in issues of agriculture. Because if we don't have food, we have a problem, right? We can do everything, but if you can't feed our people and feed ourselves, we have a massive problem. Food and water really are the two big ones. So I loved my category.
I love your category. I actually love all the categories. What stood out for you?
So for me, I think second in line with agriculture, education is a very, very important one. And what we saw was that it's also one of the most competitive environments that you have. And to find that the youth is actually making or taking initiatives to compete amongst the big brands like Wits Business School, like UJ, etc., as well as all of the international brands online, like your Udemy's, your Coursera's of the world. To see that our youth as South Africans are, building communities based on their own individuality, based on what resides within our environment and our business environment, it's exceptional. To see that they've taken the initiative to house certain education streaks in such phenomenal ways, but even more interesting. So I think one of the things that really, really stood out was how creative they became. They were bold colors, wide usage of brand mastery across the globe. And yes, there is a sense of those brands still needing growth and development, but that's why we're here, to empower them and to make sure that they actually strive for that level of excellence. Further to that, I think education is the limelight. And when we look at what streams of education, it becomes very, very difficult. And I remember as a student myself, not too many years ago, but one of the key things that was always a struggle for us was that you didn't have populations of community that you could actually speak to empower one another and support one another. And I found that within this category, there was a lot more of innovation along that space. So it's amazing to see what's come about.
Cool. Yeah, so I think just reflecting on my category, I was looking after homeware, and at first I was like, why homeware? Like I asked myself that question.
Method to our madness.
Yeah, but as I went through it, I started realizing that, one needs to look at homeware from a lens of, as a consumer who's looking for something amazing in their house, you obviously need to first be convinced to kind of go to the shop and or to even consider the type of furniture or homeware that's being sold, right? So the lens I was looking at, as an experienced strategist, if I'm being more specific, I looked at the online experience. So how do you engage with your consumer, and how in that does that result in a conversion of sorts? So through looking at that experience, through looking at how your look and feel looks like, your story, your founders, are you able to tell me a story that
experience.
can... Yeah.
So complete experience.
100% complete. We even refer to it as total experience, TX. So looking at the total experience, how do you convince me or others to come to your store? I actually said to my fiance, if you were to look at these nominees, which one stands out and why? And funny enough, it was the same thing. What draws me to your business? Cool.
Beautiful, that's awesome. And I know, Pat, you've got to give us more time at the festival. We've got lots to talk about. The important part of business, and I guess why we all get into business, whether we represent brands or we represent our own businesses, is this level of originality or finding a gap in the market, and that's one of the judging criteria that we followed. Whether you call it a disruption, whether you call it a gap, whether you call it an opportunity, that's one of the criteria that we used across all of the categories. And I know we are short for time, so I'm going to ask kind of in 1 minute, you're going to answer 2 questions for all of us. You're going to talk about, what did you notice? Are these brands finding gaps, and are they really innovating in the space? We spoke about TX. But second, what didn't you like? Because you started alluding to, I just wasn't that excited. Like, And it goes in line with, are you exciting me with a value proposition, as we always speak about in corporate? And what is going to deter me from that value proposition when we're talking about total experience or overall user experience? I know it's a loaded question, but you said I must bring drama. Let's go.
Thank you for that question. Within the context of South Africa, some part of me understands, but then when you start to look at everything through the lens of excellence, you have to be brutal, right? You can't, And what I've noticed is that there's a sense of, feel sorry for me type of thing when we start businesses, where we want people to support our businesses just because we started businesses. But I think if you look at all brands across the world, it's based on excellence from TX perspective, from a product perspective. And I suppose it depends. You have to look at it within the category. Because apparel, the barriers to entry are so low. You just have to you buy T-shirts from whichever retail store, plain, put your logo, you print, so everybody can do it. So it becomes cluttered and competitive, competitive. And for me, this concept of competitive is interesting in that, is it competitive because there are a lot of people in it, or is it competitive because everybody is doing amazing stuff? What I found was that, people are still sort of like restrained to their own personal brands. When you try to connect the user journey, you go to the website. On the website, the web links to the social media pages don't work, or somebody's running the business from their own personal Facebook page, which is add a friend, and it's not a business page. So I think
take it a little bit more seriously.
Correct.
Take your brand seriously.
Correct.
Tell that brand story.
Correct. So there isn't much thought put into, all the other aspects of what is required to build a brand. From an originality perspective, it was quite interesting because it was almost like multidimensional, the way we looked at it, in that the idea itself or the category itself might not be unique or original, but it is in the way you carry the business and you do other things, whether it is through influencers, sponsorship, brand story, PR, whatever the case may be. So we looked at it holistically. There's quite a few people who are doing original thinking in terms of they're thinking about the fabric, they're thinking about the story, they're thinking about what it means to wear this outfit. They try to bake in some sort of meaning into the apparel. How it looks also is different and it stands out. So yeah.
Thanks for that. Very insightful.
Okay, so I think the agriculture sector is quite specific in the sense that I think for a young person, I think traditionally it's not one of your sexy industries, right? So it's not your sports.
Is that sexy? A poor soccer
I mean, I'm learning. But, it's not your lifestyle, entertainment, music, fashion, right? We know the key pillars, right? But actually, what I found was, though maybe from a marketing and branding perspective, they weren't the strongest, although a couple I thought were incredibly strong. You could see the passion so there was very much of a broken user experience. Links not working, didn't have a website, or had a TikTok, which I thought was quite interesting from an agricultural perspective. So there was that, but I think that can be easily fixed with the right partners. If you bring in the right support and the right partners to those businesses, those elements can be fixed. There's what was very clear for me, that there was a clear purpose. These were businesses and individuals who were working with purpose and passion. And I thought that was really impressive. I think one of the, not downsides, but I wish I had been able to identify better who were the business owners.
So the face behind the brand.
So some of the nominees, the companies, I wasn't sure who the owner was, and I thought, God, this is so brilliant. Even when they had like a picture, but there'd be a group, so I'm like, I'm not actually sure which one is person. And so I think from a branding perspective, because those innovations and those business ideas are so amazing, I would have loved, and it's from a young person, I would love that person to come a bit more forward and let's understand their story. So why is farming in a small community so important? I know because I do reading, but like tell your story a bit more. So I'd love to see that, but that can be easily remedied. The thinking and the innovation is there, and so important is the passion is there. And these are young people who are going to change their community, if not South Africa, because what they're doing ultimately was they are feeding people. That is so incredibly important. You're growing food to feed people, and
They are influencers in their own right. It's not just about the makeup influences or the food influences. These are truly influencers. And it's a matter of, when we spoke earlier, the importance of within your category or your vertical, you can be an influencer. You don't need to become an influencer for, let me show you how to contour only, but let me show you how to create your own. We love contouring. We do. Yes. But you are encouraging. But show me. Tell me your story for the brand that you represent, or the future brands that you're going to represent. That's very insightful.
From a branding perspective, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Just on that, on the point of you wanting to see the founders, for me it was the opposite, right? In the apparel, because there's so many people, and most founders are the faces of their own brands. So for me, in terms of reconciling between the brand, and the person, I wanted to see and hear more about the brand versus the person themselves, because then they put themselves so forward, then it becomes like a personal
The brand
thing.
becomes secondary.
In fact, it felt like the clothes were designed for themselves to wear, but not for the consumer to buy.
And you had a different vertical completely. Let's go to this side of the room.
So I concur with both, actually, because in some cases we had a very vibrant personality behind what they're doing, but again, that brand synergy of really making sure that they've really ticked all the boxes of branding wasn't there. And then there was the total opposite as well, where they really put so much of effort behind the branding that they did. In some cases, vibrant colors, they really stand out. They've got good following. They've got really, you can see that there's a CI guide that's built up there.
So
there's
CI
no face,
guide, being consistent with the brand, very important to actually stand out in what we call this mayhem of clutter.
100%.
Fantastic.
But it obviously led the whole facet of who is this brand, who came up with something so incredible, why did they do this?
Tell the story behind the story.
So I think that there's a level of confidence that's actually lacking when you look at those brand owners. They are youthful. They're supposed to be vibrant and dynamic. They are being innovative in what they're building, but are they truly bringing the confidence to the table? And I think that many of them still may lack that, especially within the category that I've noticed. They seem to be more on the down low of their personalities behind the scenes. I think one of the other aspects that was, I wouldn't say the negative, but what lacked a little bit was the synergy of the branding flowing. So we found
brand
that
consistency.
Overall, we find that the logo's there, but colors may differ. They don't understand the use of that, and that's why partners like Wits Business School is going to be guiding them, hopefully, to making sure that we're really empowering these type of brands to make a difference to their businesses.
Can I just jump in there really quick? I agree, and I think the things that we were seeing from a marketing and branding is fixable with education, right? Because in my category, most of them were farmers, so they're practitioners. So why would they know about how to build a website? And and maybe it's unfair to even put that on them, right? That's why we need these incubators to build that support, because then you allow that science person who's coming up with these incredible innovations of science and agriculture, let them be the scientist, and let's create the support around them to have them to do the marketing, to do the branding, how to do social media, because why do we assume one person should be able to do all of that? That's the learning.
I think that partnership is critical. If we use like a typical example of Apple, for example, Steve was the marketing genius, and then he had the engineers who designed the product. He knew nothing about the product, but that combination was quite key. Finding the right partners, whether it's with co-founding or suppliers or service providers.
I think this is the importance of the Yoba network that Pat's really striving to grow, because there is someone now between last year and this year and all the entries, there's a network of supply chain now. So if I am that farmer, there's a database of a marketer, of a PR company, of a branding specialist within this network. Should the apparel industry be moving into the farming industry, there's someone there now. And that's the importance of this network to grow now this country and the continent. I love those points. And lastly, we're going to conclude because they're going to kick us off the stage now because I think they want to announce.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, I think the judges have obviously said a whole lot they've given a lot of insights as to how it was. The only thing I would add is really looking at the brands that I was responsible for. Firstly, pat on the back, as Pat would say, pat on the back to all of you. But I think something that really stood out for me was how people were able to tell stories. It's something that just really stood out from the different people that I looked at, the different businesses, that I looked at. They're able to tell stories about the brand, and some of them even were able to speak about their brand and its relation to the homeware category, well, a brand that they've created, right? So just to close, since we are pressed for time, with relation to the meeting the founder / not meeting the founder of the business, I think as just a tip going forward, consider how your personal brand can speak through your business. Whether you have a About Us page, as an example, whether you have an About Us page that just speaks about where you come from, it really makes a huge difference because you're looking for relatability. Some people can directly relate with you as a person. You're looking for a person who's able to, at a later stage, be able to say, I know the founder. I actually supported that guy. You're looking for that, not just to sell a product or to sell a particular service. Thanks.
Can I just, I think the point of storytelling is important. If you have a brand like Standard Bank, till today, 2023, coming up with content to tell stories, the 10% millionaires, to build a brand, to tell a story of it can be. So I think it is critical. So it's not just about having big budgets. I think it's just about having a compelling story. I remember years back where at Vega we spoke about how does a small business actually build a brand. There are things that are close to you, that are tangible, that actually don't need money, like customer service. That's something that you can really zone in on and make sure that the service and the experience is memorable. You can build in and come up with some sort of philosophy that helps you articulate not just your story, but express yourself tangibly in a way that people can then sort of form part of your brand building ecosystem by becoming people who then go on to tell your story on your behalf. I'll hand over to you.
100%. Thank you. We are opening up for a Q&A, so you can hit us. We don't have graphs or stats. Hello.
Hi, my name is Tembani. I'm from Evoke. So my question is for the judges. Is there an age limit when it regards to youth? Because we all know youth is from 18 to 35, and then there's 35, or is just...
I think the former, okay, as per the founder's criteria.
So it's 18 to 35,
18 to
if we're
35.
giving you a straight number, yeah.
So my second question, which is, does that affect the owner? Because some of us, our businesses, our youth targeted, but our age limit, we are older than 35.
So there's no limit in the sense of having a business, right? But the criteria for this is between 18 and 35 years of age.
But I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zaz Molo. My question for the judge is that you speak a lot about brand positioning, right, as far as these young people are concerned, and how they needed to have branded themselves in a certain manner. And one of the things that you said so well was the fact that if somebody is skilled in agriculture, chances are they may not be necessarily skilled in building that brand and being aware of what that brand needs to look like. Then my question is, after you have picked up all of that with all these young people that you have been judging, is there a program that allows for them, or maybe a conversation that you would have on one-on-one basis to say, this is a great product that you have, this is a great brand, this is how you position yourself, this is how you grow, or maybe even give feedback in terms of what can they be able to do better in order for them to be able to win in future, or whatever.
Yeah, I understand that as part of the prize giving, the prizes, you will get, I think, access to Wits Business School and an incubation with Standard Bank, is that correct? Well, no, with Wits, yeah. So I believe that's where they'll get the incubation that they need from a business perspective. Oh, or the nominees. I think I'd have to throw that question to, yeah, at the festival.
That are going to be taking place
At
on the 14th. Sorry.
Yeah.
So the panel discussions that will take place between the 14th and the 15th are exactly this. And as Pat said, he's not landing anything new next year. He doesn't know what he's landing next year in 2024. But the importance here is exactly these forums. Take the nuggets that you've received from the panel of esteemed judges. But I think what the important thing is the festival, where there are going to be exhibitions, there are going to be panel discussions, but then consistently following the brands, and us being the judges, but not in the nasty way, go to the brands that have been nominated and go, I have a couple of suggestions for you. Contact them on social media pages. I think your brand's fantastic, and throw some suggestions. There are so many experienced individuals in this group and who have logged on live. We must all pay it forward, not just the judging, but South Africa and Africa. Let's all get together to build exceptional brands.
So I totally agree. I think there's the ones who win, I think they're ticking most of the boxes. And I think the people that actually do need the help are the people that fall off, who are not nominated, they really need the help. So I think long-term in terms of sustainability and building and helping people grow, I think there's definitely a need and a gap to offer those services, so to speak.
Okay, let's do one more question. I'm already indicating, hey, time is not on our side, but let me take this one, and then we're going to wrap up questions.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Freddie G from Swana FM in Fame, South Africa. What I wanted to ask, we've been talking about a lot of youth, and he asked about the age restriction between 18 and 35. So I wanted to ask, from probably in the future, are you also thinking of, in the panel of judges, to include some of the youth between the ages of 18 and 35?
I'm one of them.
So we are youth.
Wow, we look.
Oh, how old do you think we are?
Do we look that old? Wow.
How old do we look?
Wow.
All right, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much to our esteemed panel of judges. You guys are absolutely fantastic. If you do have questions for them, don't hesitate to grab them and ask them those questions, because I saw there were a couple of hands, some disappointed faces about why is my question not being asked. So please feel free to grab them. We've got a lot more than the ones that were on stage as well. So just interact, engage with everybody that is here. We are slowly reaching the moment of truth. And I am nervous. All right? My stomach is just going into rolls, and it's just sounding very hideous on my side. But before we get to the nominations, I just want to give you an update about the exhibition that we're speaking about just now. If you have a stall and you want to showcase it, you can. You need to email sales@top16yoba.co.za. Those exhibitions are crucial. That's where all the important discussions are going to be taking place. This is just a press conference. That exhibition is crucial. So you need to make sure that you are there. All right? Next up, we also have the ticket sales. So the full package is finished for phase 1. So phase 2 is going to be coming out, but you could get your one-day pass for 116 Rand, day 2 pass for 156 Rand, and if you want to go straight to the glitz and the glam, the awards, it's 616 Rand. You've got it, ne? Fantastic. I'm going to call Pat, and we're going to be announcing the 64 nominees. I'm going to be sitting on this corner, and Pat will be on the other corner. I am nervous. Pat?
I'm nervous too, and I never get nervous, but never say never. All right, now let's do this. Yeah. Now it is the moment we've all been waiting for. I'm being asked to stand beside. I think it's going to be a bit awkward, but nonetheless, I'll stand here because the cameras love Pat, right? Yeah. So let's do this. Let's do this. So we're going to kick off with the agriculture category. You know, any farmers? Anyone here? Nominee in the space? Okay. All right, drum roll, please. Can someone just... Yeah, let's go, people. Let's go. Ta-da.
And the nominees are?
Yeah, we've got Green Terrace, Metapluvian Holdings, Tin Stuff, and Evergreen Aging. Yay! So those are the nominees for the agriculture category.
And the nominees for NPOs and charities are Phoenix Community Lofts, Go With a Purpose Foundation, and Her Pride Foundation. Round of applause.
Yeah. Now in the education category, I'm seeing a name that we've seen last year as one of the nominees. And here they are, Libertalia Group. You can tell these ones are educated. Libertalia Group, the Amazon Initiative, Muloi Business Leadership Firm, and Gal Code.
And the nominees for Homeway are Mo's Crib, Oak Lane Pine, Glaze, and Nemo. Congratulations.
And now, where are the foodies? In the foodies category, here are your nominees. All Day Jam, The Lazy Makoti, Cooking with Luyanda, and Alta Bar.
That is my department. But my other department that I love very, very much is the beverage department. And the nominees are Bar Health, Grandeur Gin, Gaia Coffee, and Motswako Booster. Congratulations.
And the technology nominees are, all right, the Will Doctor, Better App, Reslocate, Ramtilo Manufacturing.
I know that's right. My department, media.
And
the
wait,
nominees.
this category is sponsored by Telcom.
Everybody say shine for Telcom. Shine. That's all. Okay, now down to media. The nominees are culture collector, public health entertainment, successful journals, and Escopio. Congratulations.
For a second, I thought you were going to say ground up media there. I'm kidding. Then the nominees for the travel and tourism category are Muhupuri Adventure, Travel with Africa, B Travel SA, and Umhlaba Travel.
I definitely think these nominations were conducted in my favor because the next category is apparel. And the nominees are Rich Mnisi, Munkus, Tepo Jeans, and is it Girls and Boys or Galaxy Boys? Whichever one you want.
All right. Then we're going to move over to footwear category. And these are your nominees. Drip, Komani, Batu, and Ibuto sneakers. This one is going to be interesting, I tell you.
And as the panel says, we definitely love a contour. The nominees for beauty are Asana Beauty, Masodi Organic, Switch Beauty, and Niche Perfumes.
And under the accessories category, we have the following brands. Bona by Wenzi M, Select Group, All Things by Sihle, and Inga Atalia. And then there was load shedding. All right. Are you guys still excited? We've got a few more to go, so just bear with us.
Literally just 3 more to go.
3 more to go. Let me ask you a question. Which of the nominees do you remember that we announced? Galaxy Boy, yeah. He was listening.
No, actually, Galaxy Boy must tell us the truth. Because we all said Galaxy Boy. But then they say it's girls and boys. And then they say it's whichever one you want. What do you call it, Pat?
It's Gal X Boy.
It's Gal X Boy.
Yes.
What do you guys think? We must sort it out now and send them a video and say, you must tell us exactly what it is. What do you think it is?
Girl and boy.
Girl and boy. Okay, girl and boy.
All right. Yeah, we back up.
Okay.
We back up.
I like that one.
Now we're going to move over to you, Noni.
Alrighty, they're trying to tell me to lose weight here. Health and wellness. So the nominees are Numa Aesthetics, Zuri Nutrition, Sharon the Dietitian, and Locha Onaka.
Locha Onaka. Now for the services category. These are your nominees. Malachite, Gusi Accounting Services, Millennial Mindset, and Warm Nest Enterprise.
And last, but definitely not least, and even my voice is breaking because this category makes me very, very nervous. Personalities and influencers. The nominees are Reba Cars, Sim Shongo, K Yams, and Toby Rose. Congratulations, category sponsored by Lunch Bar.
Yeah, and this is an all-female category. Can you believe it? Give it up to the girls.
One thing about us, Ke.
Yeah?
One thing about us.
You show up, eh? All right, cool. Ladies and gents, I think I'm going to hand over to Noni to close up, but mine is done for today. See you on the 14th and 15th and the 17th and the 18th and forever. I'm kidding. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. What a fantastic morning it was. I think there might still be some snacks at the back. Not too sure, but if they are, grab some snacks. Please network. This is a great opportunity for you to do so. Big shout out to you for coming through. Big shout out to you on YouTube. And yeah, from me, Noni Kumalo, over and out.